It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pit. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to morning. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reasons Sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome back to another live edition of 5 on the Floor. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan with me, Eternal. We're breaking down the best win of the Miami Heat season, 122-120 over the best team in the NBA, the defending NBA champion, Oklahoma City Thunder. The Heat get it done without Tyler Hero, although basically they have to get everything done without Tyler Hero these days. This was a huge game for a number of guys. Signature victory it is. It salvages a home trip. They had this 3-game homestand where the Celtic game got away from them, where they almost swept the homestand before going out west. So for me, this is a huge win. This was a game that you got contributions from a ton of guys. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we do, I need to shout out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. The link is in the description of this episode. You will get the most heat anywhere on Off the Floor. Show support. There's channels to talk about everything from the NBA draft to transactions to trades to the games to all kinds of different conversations. You can basically consolidate all your social media right onto Off the Floor, but particularly to talk Miami Heat basketball. Check that out, $2.99 a month. Also want to shout out our daily fantasy sponsor here at 5 on the Floor and the 5 Reasons Sports Network. That's Prize Picks. Use the code 5 to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5. You know how simple it is to play fantasy sports on Prize Picks. Choose more or less on the statistics that make sense to you with the players that you like to watch. You'll have fun, hopefully make money. It's fun to be right. PrizePicks.com. Use that code 5. Eternal.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to start the show before handing the mic to you by saying Bam Adebayo behind 6 of 10 from 3, dropped 30 and 12 on everybody's head who was talking about how he was the slump god.
I'm going to clear out. Go ahead.
No longer the slump god.
I'm putting my mic on mute. My mic on mute, brother. You go ahead. It's your moment.
No. I just wanted to get it out of the way.
No. This your moment. Go ahead. Clear out. Go ahead.
We're all clear that he is back in a flow, in a rhythm, and the confidence is back. And so all those things are good. We're not going to spend a ton of time on Bam tonight because this is what we expect from him. Maybe not 30 and 12 every night, but he needs to lead in this type of way. Even if he's slightly inefficient, 9 of 22 is not great. It's the kind of thing you want to see from him. To me, A+ game from him. But Eternal, before we get to the player of the night, because we're going to go in a different direction than I think everybody thinks we're going. Your thoughts on this game? Like, is this the best win of the season?
Gotta be. I mean, obviously you got the Cavaliers win, but at that time, while they were at the top of the conference, they slipped. But I mean, you play who was in front of you. They beat the Knicks after almost beating them in New York during the in-season tournament. And they had a really big win at home against the Knicks. They beat Detroit in Detroit, the number one team. So now you can say Miami has beaten both teams atop of the conference, right?
That is,
you can say that now.
Yep.
Even though they don't have, now to be fair, they don't have the best record against, above 500 teams. We'll get to that later. But they have beaten both teams at the top of the conference.
They have feasted on sub 500 teams and under 500 teams, but that's a pod for another day. We are going to try to pump as much positivity as we can into the atmosphere tonight, because listen to this. The Heat, in certain respects, played a really strong competitive game against a team that, frankly, kind of looked like they were trying to get through this one. They thought maybe they could squeak it out. But it wasn't you didn't get OKC's A game tonight, but the Heat got up 111 field goals to 77 from Oklahoma City. That is such an advantage. The Heat had so many more chances, over 30 chances to score than Oklahoma City, yet OKC kept it close. The Heat took 53s compared to Oklahoma City's 29. That's so many more opportunities to score 3 points than Oklahoma City had. They won the rebounding battle, Miami did, and they kept the turnovers down to 4 points off turnovers. They won that battle. That's a stat we always watch. So there were really good things, but you see how good OKC is, because Miami play way above their head and have a lot of stuff go right. And they won by 2. Eternal, your thoughts before we go to the first segment?
I thought, obviously you have to tip your hat to a really, really great team. Now, anybody that follows me on Twitter or, we talk in our Discord off the floor, I appreciate the basketball team and the players that are on the OKC Thunder. I hate the way they hoop. It's a lot of, I fucking hate the way they hoop, because there's a lot of foul baiting. And you're too fucking good to be doing that shit, bro. Like, you don't have to do all the shit that you do to, to try to win a game. Just play it straight up. But outside of that, they play really physical, good defense. And they did disturb Miami at times, but it didn't result in a lot of turnovers from Miami, which is very impressive considering there weren't a lot of really good on-ball handlers for them tonight. So you have to tip your hat to Miami for that. And just the way that we always talk, Greg, about the hustle points. And Miami did a great job of winning the hustle battle. I mean, they blew them out the water as far as those stats go. So it's a really great quality win.
It is. We talk about getting wins against good teams that we can actually use as measuring sticks. This tells me that the Heat at least have a chance to take this 2-1 homestand out onto the West Coast, maybe get through that a game above 500 if you count the trip, and then you come back and you're starting to stack something. I'm not saying that they're contenders at all, but this is good. It was good from a lot of different players. We're going to let the first segment kind of go over how many different guys contributed. And I may owe one particular contributor an apology just for this evening. Let's get to the Insurance by Lynette Player of the Night.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So, yeah, Bam had 30 and 12, just to remind everyone. He also had 4 assists and only 1 turnover. 6 of 10 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. So, yeah, Bam was great. But that's not where we're going. Eternal. Tell them a little bit about the role players tonight.
Man, first of all, I just want to say, shout out to Myron Gardner.
Yeah.
Shout out. Like, the kid has been the thorn in the side of a lot of opposing teams, whether he's on the court or not on the court. And immediately came in and hit 3 straight threes, right? And also provided some sparks on defense as well. And so I think you have to tip your hat to him, because it changed the flow of the game for Miami during that particular time in the second quarter. You weren't getting the offense from Nico. Nico last game had 14 points against the Thunder. Wasn't a great offensive game for him at all. So you needed that offense from other places, especially missing Tyler and Jaime and Davion. So, you got to tip your hat to Myron. Simone, who has not been great the last, month and a half, hit some big shots tonight, got some rebounds as well. He was a part of the offensive rebounding for them. Khalil, especially after what happened last game, he came in not only he took a couple threes I wasn't really happy with, but outside of that, he played some really good defense on Chet. Played some really, really, really good defense on Chet, which isn't easy to do. You got to tip your hat to that. Pella, the ultimate glue guy, the ultimate role player, and Kaz.
He really impressed me. For a guy who scored 3 and was 1 of 7 and fouled out, I got to tell y'all, this was one of those games where I actually text Brady and Alex and Ethan and said, maybe he's going to be better than I think he is. The 7 assists, no turnovers, didn't get shook, obviously fouled out because he's a rookie, but I was particularly impressed by him. Larson, for me, like whatever they do with this team, you can plug and play him out on the wing. For me, that is nice. And I do want to say that as much as I've been frustrated by Khalil Ware, and I didn't agree with what Spoelstra said the other night, and I'm glad that all that got addressed. Ware came out like a true professional tonight. There was no hangover, for lack of a better term, from any of that kind of stuff. And I like to see that he got right back to the grind, took the minutes that he had and played and contributed. Andrew Wiggins contributed as well. So it was just a well-rounded effort. They're down Davion Mitchell in a matchup against SGA. That just sounds like bad news.
Who had 40 plus tonight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And so we should, I guess, touch on the fact that, SGA's, crazy. Chet had 14 and 11. He's playing really well. Jalen Williams had an off night, but he
also got hurt. Jalen Williams I think he got hurt in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken, with a hamstring injury when he drove to the paint. I think against Simone and Andrew, he got hurt.
Yeah, so he's been injured quite a bit this season, and they've been great despite that. So really quality win for the Heat. And Myron Gardner, one more shout out for him. The putback dunk, the threes, just playing gritty Miami Heat basketball. He's a guy that I can see definitely sticking around, at least for now. And so it's just good to see these guys kind of get back to a game that they can be proud of. It's interesting that late in the game, and I'll just come out and say it because if you say it, they'll call you a hater. Nobody got picked on. There wasn't anybody they were singling out on defense to try to put out on an island and go at them. And I don't know if that coincided with Tyler not playing or not. Hint, hint. But this is a quality victory. Any thoughts on the bench in particular? That's kind of where I want to, if we're going to sink our teeth into anything here before we get to the play of the night, your thoughts on the bench unit. Do you think that this is a situation where Simone is going to get run again, or do you think once everybody's back, like he'll probably shift out of the rotation? What are your thoughts there? And then we'll go to the play of the night.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I was thinking of, especially in the first quarter, was when it was 30 whatever and 30 for Miami. They were on pace to score 70 in the first half, right? Which we know for Miami has kind of been a calling card of if they score 140 whatever or get close up to that number, they're more than going to win the game. Especially since they was taking care of the ball and winning the hustle stats. That is the formula for Miami winning the game. As Spo said, when they play fast, they are a much better team. When they play slow, they're average. And I think, and I don't want to put this on Tyler, and I think it's a bit of them still trying to figure things out, right? And also Tyler's an ISO ball player, but they play slower, right? They play the offense gets mucked up, and we talked about it on the last post-game show. If you go back and look at the stats for this game, I don't think they ran that many screens compared to the games prior, right?
No, maybe a couple late game, but to your point, you're right.
They didn't run a lot of screens, so the ball was moving. Like you said, Greg, like they had a bunch of second chance points. They had way more possessions than OKC. They had 47 threes that they took. 47. OKC, who was one of the leading teams in the league for taking threes, had under 32 compared to Miami. So you have to just touch on that, and that's important. They needed this type of win. That's the type of momentum you can take into the trip that they're about to take.
For sure. And there was particularly a guy who, as much as Heat fans talk about transactions and what player maybe could be traded for some sort of asset because the Heat are never sellers, he keeps coming in the clutch. Let's get to the Mobile C Arm and Staffing X-Ray Play of the Day.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
Mr. Andrew Wiggins coming in the clutch. Take him through that play as much as you'd like to, but we're giving our shout out to Andrew Wiggins for continuing to come through the clutch. Your thoughts on that play? Do you think it was drawn up for him to get that shot, or that was just secondary action?
I thought it was a secondary action. I thought it was a really, really good play, especially because it's out of bounds. Norm gets it at the top, and there's an option. Like Norm does a great job of rejecting the screen. Very D-Wade, he rejects the screen, and it throws off Casey Wallace, and he's a half a step behind. And Norm gets to a spot, draws two. He has options of who he can pass to, but he threw a really, really great pass to Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins caught it in rhythm. He didn't think about it, just let it fly.
Yeah,
big shot. And that's the type when Andrew pisses me off at times, right? Because of the ISO stuff and just because he's not a great, playmaker. So when he does draw two or three, he takes the shot instead of dishing it out. But that's a really, really big shot. Really, really, really big shot from Andrew, which he has done this season. He's hit some clutch shots for them. And I just thought it was a really, really great play. Great design from Spo. Great drive from Norm, even the little things to create the separation. Great pass, great shot from Andrew. That was the play of the night.
You talk about how Norm rejected the screen. Let's all recognize that the Heat late in that game were setting a pick pretty high up there on the court. So at some point you need to get to that. So I think that it's good to see them try to mix that in. Norm made a great pass. And you're right. For all these young players that are on this team, they're having to do a lot of thinking as they're navigating their way through figuring out what role they're in, or in, Yakachonis's case, he's just getting his feet wet with all this stuff. Wiggs knows what he's there for. He knows what he needs to do. And so when he takes that shot, for better or worse, whether we're pulling our hair out or not, depending if it goes in or out, he's taking that with full confidence. And they need a couple vets to be like that, so that they see that you can kind of just let it fly at times. And for Wiggs, that's worked out great, whether it's an alley-oop right at the rim against Cleveland, or tonight when he put a shot up to give the Heat the lead for good. So great stuff there. Shout out to both of our sponsors. Also, we are going to have you covered for the entire West Coast trip. That'll be, you'll have Ethan, Alex, Brady. Check out all the writing they're doing on SI, but they'll all be back for post-game shows throughout the road trip. You may see me a little less through that because it's hard for my old washed up ass to stay up. But Eternal, your final thoughts before we close up shop on tonight's episode. And shout out to Prize Picks, Mobile C Arm and Staffing, and A Aggressive Insurance. That's insurancebyLynette.com. Eternal, your final thoughts.
I wanted to go back to Cass because I thought that his first stint to start the game wasn't particularly great on offense. They didn't really start with him, being on ball. And he just kind of looked like he was trying to figure out where to be. But that second stint and on the rest of the game, great shit. He was collapsing the defense, kicking the ball out, creating some opportunities for other people. It's not like it was like veteran play, but it was a progressive play from him. And I think the last two games, the games that you've seen from him, over 6 assists, right? Like, he is doing the thing, and he didn't turn the ball over like that. I think the only thing you can point to was really the fouls. And a couple of those really shouldn't have been fouls on him, but he's a rookie. He's going to get those.
I'm glad Pele kept them honest on the one when basically like turned his shoulder into him and he fell on the ground and he had to basically act like he had the wind knocked out of him for them to call.
It's crazy, but also too, Bam. I wanted you, Greg, because you got a lot of shit in your mentions and people coming at you in your DMs and shit about Bam, who struggled. We ain't gonna sit over here and act like Bam didn't struggle.
Oh, yeah.
He struggled.
It was awful.
It's a long season, and y'all be talking crazy like it ain't a long season. Yeah. Like, dude ain't proved shit in the playoffs. But we talking about right now, Greg, before we get out of here, I need you to wax poetically. Otherwise, I'm not gonna allow you to end this damn show. I need you to talk your shit. And if you want to sprinkle, because we are in transaction and we know what drive the numbers. If you want to sprinkle a little bit of what you heard for our listeners, the floor.
Yeah, for sure. We can end that way. And maybe we'll throw some comments up here and see what we get. I just think it's important to realize that guys go through rough patches. I think two-way players should be given more leeway than we probably do. But Bam was struggling, and I think that this is you're just seeing a guy come out of that, and that's important. I can tell you, like, when I checked in with people around the Heat, there is not a person in that organization that doesn't think Bam's gonna be anything but a player that retires in Miami. They are, I would say, even to the point, like, they want to make sure what happened with Dwayne never happens with Bam. And I understand that they are not on the same level, but just the way that he's kind of championed everything that they do there, that matters to them. So it's good to see him playing well. I just love the big victory there. I'm trying not to get too crazy about screaming no ceiling anymore because I don't want to put that on him. But he looked great tonight. They need more of this. They need more 20 and 10s, particularly the 20, just because this team needs the scoring if Tyler's not going to play. So we're going to watch for that. There hasn't been anything really loud about the Ja Morant stuff lately, other than I would say don't read into some of what was published recently about the Heat's lack of interest or aiming for a certain summer. The Heat are just looking for an opportunistic moment to add a player at a great value. And if there's not going to be a player at great value, they're going to wait for a guy that they would just give up everything for. So that's what they're basically navigating. The Grizzlies are traveling abroad. I heard Ja may even play in the next one. So there's really no news there other than don't listen to the media and get all hyped up day over day. We'll see what unfolds. I just think people get ahead of themselves. February 5th will be here soon enough. We'll see what happens. So the update is no update. Thank you all for joining us. Eternal, go ahead. You're on mute.
Pull to Ethan. If you had to put a percentage on Miami making a trade at all by the deadline, what would you put it at?
Oh, right. Today, I would go 65-35 that they're going to make a deal. So that's fun.
See, there
Good
you
night.
go. Subscribe to Off the Floor. Peace out.